If you protect 2 hours per day of deep work, you will outperform the founder who is spending 10 hours per day bouncing between reactive and mundane tasks.
My guest today went from veterinary surgeon to burnout to building a business that runs without him while traveling more than 100 days a year. He works with founders across 14 countries to help them stop being the bottleneck in their business. Michael, welcome to the Joe Show.
Thanks for having me.
You were a veterinary surgeon before this. It's not the typical background for a business systems guy. What happened?
Let's just say I came to the realization that I don't see my future involving working 10 hours per week in a clinic, 5 days per week for the next 30 years of my life. And I actually caught the entrepreneur bug halfway through my clinical years. It started when I got into personal development, when I'm just this Asian kid from Hong Kong living in the UK and studied the most intensive bachelor veterinary medicine degree that you can study as a 18-year-old, and also running a basketball team. As a result of me pursuing quote unquote success and 4-hour work weeks, I ended up working 14 to 16-hour work days instead of 4-hour work weeks, burning out and almost killing myself in the process. And it was through that smash in the head moment that led me to learning all about leverage and discerning the difference between complexity and business versus leverage and real productivity. And as a dots look back, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. So I've heard you speak about a near-death experience as a bit of a turning point, or quite a significant turning point. How much of that do you share publicly, and what would you like people to understand from that part of your life?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty open about it because that's the turning point that got me to do what I now do. And basically, and as I share the story, I recognize how, unfortunately, experiences like these are not that uncommon amongst founders and entrepreneurs. Like for me, my experience with burnout is me working so hard that my body just gave out one day when I was driving 80 miles per hour on the M25 highway in the UK. And luckily, like, nobody got hurt. The car just skid to the sidewalk, and I just woke up in cold sweats. But there are so many other examples that I actually heard from other founder stories where they burnt out and like things got pretty dangerous, and a lot of areas in life that matter most to them actually got heavily affected. And that really drove me to like really dedicating my life towards a mission where we want to create a global movement where founder freedom is the norm rather than founder burnout.
And you used to obviously wear busyness like a badge. No irony in pursuing the 4-hour work week that we wear ourselves out. When you
Yeah.
speak to founders now and you see them doing the same thing, how do you feel as you hear them describe that?
I think it's a mix of compassion and empathy because as much as we pride ourselves in our ability to work hard, be persistent, be disciplined, and so forth, there is a difference between grinding just for the sake of busyness and achievements versus being obsessive and in flow around a path that actually aligns with the business and life that we want to architect.
I like the way you describe it. You talk about transforming businesses from labor-driven vehicles to process-driven assets. So in plain language, what would that mean for somebody listening today?
Sure. So to put this plainly, your business isn't a cage where the only way that it can survive is you working mechanical, mundane, manual work day in, day out just to keep the lights on. A process-driven asset is a business where, number one, is designed around your life rather than the other way around. And number two, is driven by systematic, documented procedures and SOPs
Mhm.
that will allow you to delegate and automate everything that is outside of your zone of genius. So to be honest, like we see like the like at the end of the day, business is pretty simple. And if you take everything that every single business course teaches you, you can see everything comes down to marketing, sales, finances, and operations. And if you can pare down what exactly is it that makes a business different, it has got nothing to do with how you check your emails or how you
I
manage your
see.
inboxes
Yes.
and and how you build funnels and how you set up automations. It comes down to how you build infrastructure around your founder essence, which is the part of you that is irreplaceable and a part of you that makes what you provide to the world or to the market special. And what I find is that most founders, they came into the entrepreneur space wanting more for themselves, wanting more for their families, wanting more for the market, and wanting to disrupt the industry with something that is actually innovative or cutting edge. But as they grow that offer, rather than becoming the person who's actually leading the movement and disrupting the industry with their cutting edge IP, they end up becoming the chief everything officer who is doing like a million different tasks that other people can do for them. And as a result of that, evaporating their founder essence.
Yeah, it's nothing to be proud of the way that you check your email, really, is there? A badge of honor. So, walk me through what you call the Freedom Flywheel. If I'm a one person business drowning in tasks every day, how does it help me? Where do I start?
Sure. So the Freedom Flywheel is an operating model that will allow the passage of time to compound in your favor rather than against your favor. So what I want to do here is to actually allow the founder to see output per time as the North Star metric rather than revenue or profit. Because ultimately revenue is vanity. And whilst you can absolutely become a very profitable business, it doesn't really matter if you're very profitable if your life sucks or if in order for you to like maintain that level of income, you have to sacrifice all the other areas of life that matter most. Hence why what I want to actually measure progress with is our output per time, aka how much profit or how much progress we can actually bring in per hour or per unit of time. And the free flywheel is the operating model that allows you to compound that metric. So
That's awesome.
uh,
Yeah.
to break down a freedom flywheel, it basically comes down to us dialing in these two pillars. Number one, time spent in deep work, and number two, time spent building leverage. So because if you dissect what is deep work, according to research by people like Cal Newport, is a state where your whole being, your whole attention is focused on one objective. And that is when your productivity increases by 500%. And this is
That's
where,
awesome.
yes, exactly. So that's why I keep telling my clients that if you simply protect 2 hours per day for deep work, you'll outperform the reactive founder who's bouncing between mundane tasks for 10 hours per day. Founders at the end of the day are mental athletes. And if you look at any athletes who are starting their sports, they don't, let's say, play the first quarter in a basketball game, check their emails, and play a second quarter. And then when halftime comes, they check their socials and then go to play a second half of the game. Like they are in the zone, and that is what makes them perform. And for some founders, being in the zone might be coding. For other founders, being in the zone might be speaking on stage or creating content. And that is what actually allows us to maximize our output per time. And as but obviously, if you have no systems and if everything runs on your shoulders, then habituating the work becomes more or less impossible.
Mm.
That's why we have to then also petition time for the other end of the freedom flywheel, which is building leverage. And that recomes down to a process of simplification and systematization so that we can eliminate everything that's getting in the way of the work outside of our calendars. So, for example, let's say your highest output comes down to you being in a zone creating content. Then what you want to do here is to actually list out all of the recurring tasks or recurring processes that must be executed on a daily, weekly, monthly basis in order for a business to actually just operate and proceed to either delegate that to a virtual assistant or automate it with an AI tool or an AI agent, which is again like super accessible to do
Mm,
these days at scale.
mm,
And as you do that, if 80% of your time is spent either in deep work or number two, eliminating things that causes you to get out of deep work, then you will end up creating a freedom flywheel where it will be inevitable for you to just compound output per time as you continually innovate, continually systematize, and reinvest and keep on reinvesting time into increasing your output per time.
So the description of how you spoke about delegating and optimizing, is that what you call the MDOS method?
Yep. So that's basically the framework that we use for every single like what that's a framework that we use to map out every single asset or
Mhm.
what I call value center of the business. Because what causes most founders to not perform as well as they want to isn't due to the lack of ideas, lack of knowledge, or even lack of
No,
resources. It is
no.
their ability to follow through to turn an idea into an actual asset. And this brings me to a framework that I call idea to asset hourglass. Because if you
Mhm.
think about an hourglass, like at the beginning of you creating an asset, you have an idea that's broad that requires you to have a lot of input. You have to build upon the idea. You have to create a strategy. And as you go ahead and create a feedback loop between what is working and start validating that strategy, then you can start getting results. But then once you get results, that's when you arrive at the middle point of the hourglass where you're kind of bottlenecked, as in
Mhm.
you like the results are happening, but in order for the results to keep happening, you will have to be the person who keeps on operating upon that strategy. But
Mm.
in order for you to then amplify outputs, which is where we can now like which brings us to the second half of the hourglass, which is now expanding. We have to rather than just remain at that strategy execution phase to actually to proceeding to diving into the strategy. You don't just stop there. You proceed to take the extra step to systematize what is working, document the process so that as you hand it to a human being or robot, the results keep on coming without you being the bottleneck.
Yes. It is that
Yeah.
delegating that so many people joke, even make light of, I think, but is a serious problem that they have trouble doing. I just can't delegate, whether it's
Yeah.
ego or just inability or lack of trust in the system they've built and the person or the AI agent that they want to delegate it to. It's a bit of a minefield. I like the way you lay it out really simply, calmly, as usual, and clearly. It's very, very good. Your VAs are AI trained. What does that mean practically? What can one of your VAs do that a standard VA can't?
Sure. So I'm not I can't really speak to the virtual assistants who aren't AI enabled because like we're not in that world. But
Yeah.
for our specific AI enabled marketing assistants or executive assistants, what we want to do is to make sure that we can develop high agency, high
Mhm.
performing assistants who can bring on their own layer of leverage. So what I
Mm.
mean by that, what I mean is that right now with everything that can be done with AI, I'm pretty sure that whether you're a assistant a mid-level manager, or even an entrepreneur, your AI enabled counterparts will make your non-AI enabled counterparts irrelevant in a very short time frame, given where AI
Yes.
is going.
It's
Yeah.
very important
So
that people hear this. Yes.
so what do we want to do with our virtual assistants is that we want to actually, first of all, teach them systems thinking, and secondly, prompt them to learn how to approach their daily assigned workflows with AI being their weapon rather than an
Hmm.
enemy. So,
Hmm.
for example, let's say a client has delegated the task of outbound outreaches or outbound lead generation to a
Hmm.
marketing assistant. A non-AI enabled marketing assistant might go ahead and just go to LinkedIn, manually search up a list of target like ICPs and manually reach out to those people one by one by one. But an AI enabled marketing assistant will go ahead and leverage tools like Claude Cowork,
Mm.
Apollo, and Clay to scrape like a huge list of ICPs, contacts, and emails, and
Mm.
also and also use AI to identify who is actually in the buying pocket, and then also use AI to deep personalize every single cold email at scale and send it out to the masses using a tool like instantly,
You work with, coaches, consultants, real estate investors. Do the systems that you
along with a lot of agencies and service
yeah, that
providers.
you help founders build, do the systems change regardless of industry?
At the end of the day, there's only four ways for you to get traffic to your offer: outbound, organic, paid ads, and partnerships.
Mm.
And whether you're running a coaching business, consulting business, agency business, or advisory slash real estate business as an agent, it really comes down to these four lanes. And what we want to do here is to actually is to actually map out the acquisition process, which is the best for the client's stage of growth, the client's strengths, and the nature
Mm.
of their business. So, for example, let's say you're a life coach, okay? Let's say you're a life coach. It would be insane for me to say that, hey, Mr. Life Coach, let's implement an outbound campaign where we cold DM 5,000 people on how you can melt away a limited belief or become more high performing. It won't work. It won't work. Versus if you are a service provider with a very clear cut, more transactional offer, that you can absolutely apply cold outbound as a very solid way to acquire clients.
Mm.
So it's basically so we have frameworks across all of these avenues, but it really comes down to number one, mapping out what makes most sense for the founder, for the founder's goals and their offer and the nature of their business, and then going ahead and choosing the model which the AI powered assistant can then operate for them.
It sounds like a really just sensible way to look at it, implement it in a way that's tailored to their industry and that's going to work for the long term and scale. There is a cynical read of what you do, pay Michael to outsource your problems. What's the steelman argument against your model and how do you respond to it?
Give me an example of what you mean by like Stillman arguments.
You might just like some people being cynical might say, oh, just pay Michael to set up systems and they just outsource my problems, but they're not really, I guess, fixing the root cause maybe of who they are and how they approach their business. So they're not going to get great results.
Yeah. So like that's why we don't see ourselves as staffing companies or systems building service providers. We treat ourselves like scaling partners with our clients.
Mm.
Because like if you think about systems, you can think about you, let's say you can treat your business as a vehicle. Okay. The vehicle will include the chassis or the car itself, the driver, and what makes the car stand out.
Mm.
So you can imagine myself as a person who can build you the car and plug in the driver to operate a car for you, aka the AI-enabled assistant. But if you as a founder has no founder essence to guide everybody on what a car should look like, how it should be designed, what are the values, what makes it stand in the marketplace, then it's just going to be a like just another car rather
Mm.
than a recognizable brand like Porsche.
Hmm. Nicely said. Another thing people might look at when they see your feed, you're based in Singapore, you're traveling 100 days a year, it looks pretty darn good. What would you say to people who go, "Oh, that can't be real. He can't be really doing that. That's just a marketing presentation of his life?"
Well, for a record, I'm based in Hong Kong. Singapore's
So,
Hong
geez.
Kong. No worries. But yeah, like I think the reality is that we have to come to the realization that whilst we might believe that the only path to success is hard work and hustle, we also have to be aware that there's somebody else in our exact industry who is making 5 to 10 times more than us, whilst working way less than us and taking guilt-free vacations and 30-day sabbaticals left, right, and center. And that's not because they're more intelligent and talented or have some like manifestation crystals that magically causes them to transform their businesses and lives. It is because of their ability to see business through a lens of leverage building rather than through a lens of just creating a job for themselves.
Mm. I can
And
attest to the fact that I know that it's for real, your travel and your life. And because your systems thinking has taught me, and gosh, I was just looking back at the last year, had less resources needing to be run in my business and more time off than I've had in the last 7 years. So I will vouch for the fact that your systems are actually authentic and do work.
well, all I can say is like, given that we're kind of in this trust recession that I don't think is ever going to go away in the online space, and how everybody here is like spotting claims, saying how awesome they are, and so forth. That's why we don't do claims. Our marketing is pretty much demonstration style. Now, like, and every single SOP is not just there to help a company create speed, but also create space. In other words, I would never ever want to double a client's revenue whilst doubling their work hours and call
Mm,
that a win. Like that would be a pretty sucky loss in
mm.
my dictionary. I'd
I
rather
think I
have
agree.
somebody like because you, again, going back to our North Star metric being output per time, if we double your profit and double your work hours, then your output per time actually like stay the same or worse. If we double your revenue, decrease your profit margins, but still doubled your work hours,
Mm,
your
mm,
output per time actually drops.
mm.
So sometimes we have to do some elimination. Sometimes we have to do some complexity replacement so that we can actually introduce simplicity, because ultimately, yeah, we never ever want to scale something that is ineffective or eats our souls. We want to create
Love
something
it.
that, yeah, like is actually fun to scale up.
It's exactly right. It's just refreshing. There's a lot of hype out there, and I really appreciate that you don't do that. When you talk to founders, they're often going to think they need something when in fact they need something else. What's the common thing that you think that they tell you they need, and you go, no, actually, that's not what you need.
I think the most common pattern that I see is that founders think they need more tools, bigger tech stack, more AI prompts, more AI agents, so far and so forth.
Yes.
But what they actually need is a scalable end-to-end client journey.
Mm,
For example, again, going back to the example of how we will approach helping a life coach versus a service provider, like create client acquisition systems. you can go ahead and collect every single tactic around Instagram, YouTube, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, TikTok, Snapchat, all of those
There'd be
things.
a lot.
But yeah, exactly. But if you have no idea what is the most effective pathway for your business to turn a stranger into a paying client, then all you will create is complexity and clutter rather than
Mhm.
actual progress.
Mm. This
So
is what I find when people get caught with the tactics, they're not building a business that suits who they are anymore. They're running on fear of missing out and just getting more and more scattered and distressed, actually. And then the subscriptions pile up and they're not using them. And stress levels go up, like because you're just fragmented in your energy. So you've seen a lot of people try to delegate and fail before they come to you. What's the single biggest mindset shift they need for the delegation part to actually work?
good people don't break, sorry, good people don't fix broken systems.
Oh,
Broken
stop
systems,
touching it.
broken systems break good people. Like
Yeah.
there are so many instances where a founder keeps romanticizing on an idea where a good hire can come in and transform their lives. But
Mhm.
the reason why those expectations fall short is because nobody can actually know exactly how to run a business. And sometimes that includes a founder. Like
Mhm.
we see, like oftentimes we hop on calls with prospects wanting help, let's say systematizing and delegating their marketing operations. And they come on a call and they want a marketing assistant to fill up their calendars and help them book qualified leads. But I asked them like, cool, well, tell me about your end-to-end client journey. What kind of funnel you're running? What is working in your business right now? Or are you doing like if you're doing contents, let me know what's working so that the marketing assistants can drive the car and help you free up time. And they're like,
Mhm.
I actually like I actually don't have that. Isn't a marketing assistant supposed to just read my mind, know how to market my business better than I do, and somehow fix all my problems? And I'm like, well, if somebody who is less sophisticated around your offer, your market, and your vision can do that, then what makes your business special?
Mhm.
So that's why, again, back to my point, we don't just staff our clients with AI-enabled assistance. We actually help them map out their end-to-end client journey,
Mhm.
turn it into a vehicle, and then plug in a driver, because that is how we guarantee a return on time and money invested for like into any person that you onboard to a company.
I think you've answered my next question. There you go with wisdom, building from this firm foundation again. I was going to ask you if somebody's not ready or able to invest in a program yet, what's something they could do at no charge this week that would move the needle? But I think you've answered that by saying think about your end to end client journey. Get that very clear.
Yeah, that's what
You-
that's what I will recommend at the beginning. In
Mm,
fact, like I can drop you a link in the show notes and I can even share with you a resource for audiences
excellent.
uh because ultimately what I see as a cloud end-to-end journey comes down to these following stages. Number
Mm,
one, traffic. Number two, nurture. Number three, convert. Number four, onboard. Number five, deliver. Number six, retain or ascend. If there's a lack of clarity around how either of these six areas are operating in your business, then all I can say is what cannot be repeated cannot be documented, and what cannot be documented cannot be delegated.
well said. We'll definitely get that link in the description. It'd be excellent for people to start there. Thank you. Um, what does a well designed week look like for you right now? What are you spending time on?
Great question. A well designed week would involve me being able to do the following routines on a daily basis. Number one, wake up on time. I have snoozed in 5 years. Number two,
Mhm.
do. 2 hours, like spend at least 2 hours in deep work. Number three, go to the gym,
Mm-hmm.
go for a sauna, go take a cold shower afterwards in the afternoons. And number four, end work before 6 p.m. so that I can just spend the night by myself with my wife and like just, yeah, like just chill and recover and just be present without having to worry about anything else. What's even more important is our ability to protect our boundaries and
Mm-hmm.
dictate what goes in and what does not go into our calendars.
Well said. It's a massive thing. So important just to really protect those boundaries. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and like there's no like, and to anybody who thinks that they should work a certain amount of hours or should live life a certain way, all I can say is sit with yourself and really clarify your definition of success.
Mm,
Because if I'm going to be honest with myself, for example, I would be pretty depressed if I were to swap places with people like Alex Hormozy or Elon Musk. Like,
mm,
whilst their life and business, quote unquote, is successful, that's not the life that I want, or
mhm,
nor is that life a reflection of my own definition of success. I want to live my life a certain way. I want to build my business as big or as small as I want to, and I want to simply like, yeah, live the kind of life that I want. And the pursuit of other people's goals is like the pursuit of trying to wear someone else's pants. It's
mhm.
pretty uncomfortable and it feels weird. And it doesn't like, and whilst you might think that you will get recognition or you might get validated, like the first person that you have to get validation from is yourself. And you have to, and people just have to go through that.
It's so true. You've really touched on one of the themes of what I try to do with this podcast is helping people see how they can build a business that suits who they are. You know, some people love the 20-hour a day work, and that's fantastic, and they're building excellent things, and all credit to them. You know, I certainly learned a couple of years ago that I don't want to build an empire. I just like serving a handful of clients really well, and I love my lifestyle. So that was a huge relief for me to just go with that and then build the systems my way as well that suit who I am. And I love hearing that this is what you help people do. It's fantastic. What's working for you right now to market your business?
Great question. So we currently have 2 lanes in our business. And the first, so to give you a quick idea of how this operates right now, we have like our core program as a partnership offer where partially that involves systems and productivity coaching and consulting. And the other spectrum, and the other side of that is done for you delegation, where we simply help people onboard, train, manage, and guide their AI-enabled assistants to help delegate and free up a ton of time for the founders. And that's our core offer. And what we have done, and for that core offer, what is working right now is tons of content, tons of nurturing, and more or less omnipresent ecosystem kind of branding play.
Mhm,
And that's less of a funnel, that's more of a flywheel, because when you can routinely capture and retain attention, that is when you're able to have somebody see you as a prime choice. And when you pair that up with an offer that's pretty unique by itself, such as ours, then you will simply get a pipeline of warm, even hot buyers. So that's the first lane that's working really well for us. And
mhm,
second lane is the pure service offer that we're spun out from our core offer.
mhm,
Because at the end of the day, some businesses, they have their systems dialed in, they have awareness around what it takes to delegate, but they just need solid AI enabled talent to help them buy back time and create leverage. For
mm,
that sector of our audiences, we simply bring them through a super simple VSL funnel. So
Hmm.
there's no opt-in pages. There's just a 6-minute video sales letter with a super short application form. And as long as they qualify, we hop on a call and we just we just identify who they're looking for, what is the ideal role responsibility, role requirements, etc. That they want to see in their AI-enabled assistants, and we just do staffing and staffing, recruitment, and talent development.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
very solid system. It's great. I've got questions I would like to ask you just in quick succession, and
Whoa, sure.
so just to see how you go, a bit of a quick fire round. So whether it's personal or professional, what's the best delegation you've ever made?
The biggest relief to me is marketing, tech, and operations.
Mm,
Anything involving setting up automations,
mhm.
funnels, connecting email domains,
Yes.
deliverability, speaking to go high level supports, metapixels, Converge API, like all of those things. Once I'm good at them, was like the moment I delegated that to a marketing tech assistant, my life just changed.
Oh, fantastic. Don't have to check all the links work. Somebody else can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's one tool that you would keep if you had to delete everything else? Just the best tool.
Lot cowork
Huh? It's a game changer.
is the best.
I had an AI agent the other day that I was running on. I tried to experiment with it actually on a cheaper model, and I spent 7 hours trying to fix a problem. And then I thought, hang on, we're really looping here. So I moved it to Claude Opus 4.6 and we solved it in literally 2 minutes.
It is insane, and that's why like even if you remove every single other tool that is on my tech stack right now, as long as I have Claude, I encode it up, I encode back that tech stack, or just have Claude take control of everything.
Claude Cowork is the ride or die for Michael Yeung.
Yep,
What do most productivity gurus just get completely wrong?
they confuse activity with progress.
Yes, that old chestnut. So vet surgeon to freedom flywheel. What's the one skill that's crossed over?
The ability to stay disciplined around what you are looking to achieve and not bounce between and not bounce between different avenues or shortcuts to what you actually want to do.
That is
Like,
something I have observed in you. Yes. It's very good.
yeah, like vet surgeon, the path was pretty linear. Creating a business that serves me and the life that I want to live, that path's pretty direct as well. You know what you gotta do, but
Mm.
sometimes those decisions might challenge your beliefs. They might push you out of your comfort zone. But as long as you actually follow the plan and develop an identity where follow through is your middle name, then you just get there.
I like that. Develop an identity where follow through is your middle name, and then you'll just get there. That's excellent. Really good. Michael,
Yeah.
thank you for your time. We'll put links in the description, of course, for where people can find you. Your website is mypolaris.io, is that correct? For anyone listening and not reading the description, I just wanted to make sure that was clear, so that people can find you, because the service that you offer founders just to really reduce their anxiety levels, their stress, give them their life back, bring some calm into their business and let it scale. I mean, that is just gold. So I'm really glad you could come on the show, and I hope that people listening will connect with you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. And yeah, this was super fun. So thanks for having me again.